right. Well, welcome, Bronson, the man, the myth, the legend. How's it going, man?
That's a bit of an intro there, Noah. The man, the
Oh
myth, the
yeah,
legend. Wow. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
yeah, yeah. I know we've been talking off and on Twitter for the last I don't know maybe a couple months or so, but this is our first time chatting screen to screen, so it's it's an honor and a pleasure to chat with you, and I'm excited to you know just learn more about who you are, what your passions are, and um, dig into who you are as a person and a creative, and uh, just listen to your insights. So, as kind of an intro, could you give 30-second to a minute, summary of who you are, what you do,
Ooh,
and we can go from there.
here we go. Summarizing a human life in 30 seconds.
Right.
Ooh, here we go. All right. Yeah, my name is Bronson. I just quit my job working with Heineken to move into the middle of nowhere. I'm currently in a New Zealand forest at the moment. You can't see what's outside, but I'm surrounded by trees and birds, and that's about all I'm surrounded by. And I quit my job to start in my own content agency to help entrepreneurs make authentic video content. And it's a good time, man. I'm really, really appreciating it, and it's a beautiful journey to be on, especially here. It's crazy.
Mm, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. It was. I know we talked. I don't know. This was maybe a week ago or something, and mentioned how I had visited New Zealand maybe in 2015, and it's just a beautiful place. I am super jealous that you're there, and wish I could be there in an instant.
Wow. If you ever make the journey over here, you're more than welcome. It's
Oh, well,
there's something
appreciate that.
special about this place. There really is. Yeah.
There really is, man. I mean, no wonder they filmed the Lord of the Rings and all those movies. But
We'll be filming our own movie. It'll
right,
be crazy.
exactly. Yeah. Well, Bronson, I'm curious. I have done a decent amount of research on you. I've kind of looked at some of the things that you've done, on top of just you know chatting with you throughout Twitter and things like that. But I've noticed there seems to be a strong gravitation towards like video specifically, and I'm curious, like what in particular with video kind of captures your creative spirit.
I've never actually dived that deep into this question. I guess just my first thoughts are that ever since I was a child, I always liked watching videos. I liked going to the video store. Remember this? Like going to the video store and renting out a VHS
Mm-hmm.
um, videotape and taking it home and plugging it in and watching the movie. And I've always appreciated the medium. I'm quite a visual learner, so I can't really learn in any other way. Well, I can, but I find it a whole lot easier to learn by watching things. And I've always just gravitated towards it. So as I started to like progress in what I wanted to do in life, I just naturally my path started heading down towards video, and I think it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What you mentioned, going to like video stores, going to, or, plugging in the VHS and watching movies that way. I'm curious, like, as a kid, did you like have cameras? Did you your parents, were they photographers? Were they filmmakers? Like, um, how did that
Hmm.
bring you to the point
Oh,
where you are now?
no, is the answer to this. And it's funny that you bring this up because it made me remember how my girlfriend is a very good photographer, and she would always ask me to take photos, but I resisted for so long. I really didn't like photography at all. Like I hated it. I just something about it just I didn't like how um, things had to be perfect, and like you would have to like sit there and take a picture and then play around with settings to make it look beautiful in my perspective. And then somewhere during COVID, um, we could talk about this in a bit later, my girlfriend got a head injury, and we were sitting around, thinking about different activities that she could do to pass her time. And she couldn't look at screens anymore. So I thought, hey, you can't look at screens, you can't do photography, but perhaps, you could try out an old analog film camera because there's no screen there. So I bought her one, and then I ended up using it more than her, and the rest was history.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, man. You mentioned somewhere, I can't remember where, but you had like 100 film cameras or something like that, or over 50.
It is true, yes. At one point, I had 42 analog cameras,
Holy cow.
and my girlfriend is very, supportive of my film journey, my video journey. She's my biggest fan, but she rightfully so put down her foot and said, "All right, maybe 42 is a bit much. Maybe
Right.
you should." Are you actually going to use 42? Probably not. So I sold them all, and now I have 5.
Wow. Which ones do you have?
This one up here, that's my favorite. That is a beautiful old.
Yeah.
I might get it. I might get it. Breaking the podcast fourth wall.
That's okay.
This camera, if you ever get the chance,
Wow.
this thing here, it is.
That is beautiful.
You pop it up. You look through it. Oh, there's something about analog photography that it keeps you in the moment because you cannot see. Like you take a picture and that's it. Maybe a month later you get to see it, but both you and the person you're taking photos with, you just have to go with it. So highly recommend, Noah. Have you done this
Oh,
before? You have. I remember, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've shot film. Not as much as I would have liked, or not as much as I like, but you know, yeah, I there's something about like Fujifilm specifically. I know that's kind of a basic, you know, basic film
Hmm.
starter camera, but there is something about like just film analog, especially the like analog on top of or analog in a digital world. And this is something that like this question kind of sparked off the top of my head, but how do you feel about analog in a digital world, in a world where everything is TikTokified, everything is on our phone, everything is on our computers? How have you one kind of responded to that? Two, how have you, you know, grown or learned to merge the mediums? And three, where do you see it going?
Oh, good questions. I'm going with 3 first.
Sure.
And there's been a very large push and a big trend moving towards analog photography in the past couple of years. And I think that is partly it's because of we're so much on our screens, so our digital screens, so much nowadays that I do think that people are seeking a more tactile, different. There's a certain feeling and an emotion that we get when we shoot film that I don't think we can currently get when we take digital pictures. Yes, there are some beautiful cameras that do emulate what we take on film, but like the whole process of just like we're tactically moving things and twisting knobs, and there's something about it. I don't know. Once you do it, it almost makes it worth the money. But
Right, right.
I think it's like $50 for a roll of film in New Zealand. So
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
yeah, but I think it's a beautiful thing, and people are definitely moving towards it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
How do we merge the two? It's an interesting thing because uh, the amount of pictures that we take and how many of those are printed traditionally compared to most of my film photos are displayed online. So merging the two it's a beautiful challenge in itself. I do like the idea of there's this style of video where we record a video of us or the scene that we're taking a photo of, and then you overlay the moment after you click the shutter with your analog photo.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that, and it's quite funny because when you watch the video, you will see the photo instantly, whereas I might not see the photo for like a month or two. So
Right.
that's how I'm currently doing it, and yeah, I love it.
That's awesome, man. Huh. I want to kind of backtrack a little bit and hear more of your story from, a creative's perspective and just hear your story. So I know that you have worked with a lot of, companies like Heineken. I was, MTV is another one. Comedy Central, Nickelodeon. Are those two other ones?
Those are my friends, yes.
Awesome.
I still speak with them to this day, and yeah.
That's incredible, man. Those are accomplishment like clients in and of themselves. So that's just incredible. But I'm curious to hear like your journey into this space and just what you've learned from working with them and how you've grown as a creative.
Yeah. I think the first thing that comes to my mind when thinking about this is that I used to be so intimidated about the idea of working with these large companies, like Heineken, and Netflix, and Amazon, and Nickelodeon, and all of these very large companies. But like once you actually work there for a long amount of time, you realize that you're just interacting with people. Like I'm still emailing a person as I would email anyone else in any industry, and we're all there to like do our jobs and achieve something together. But I do think that people can put these companies on like a very large pedestal and like, oh, one day I will work with these people. But we're all just people in the end. And yeah, after working with them for quite a long time, yes, we made some beautiful stuff, but we are all just people. And I think that is something that, yeah, people could really benefit from knowing, because I was intimidated when I first looked up to these people. But yeah, now they're my friends and my former colleagues. And yeah, where do we go from there? What was your question again? No, sorry about that.
Oh, you're okay. No, that was I love that because just as an aside, like, you look at maybe creators on Twitter, creators on Instagram, or big companies that, like you said, some people look up to. But at the end of the day, they're just like you and I. They're people, and they have feelings. They have maybe priorities outside of work, and at the end of the day, like, you guys are there to create. You guys are there to do something beautiful, and having that fear of maybe not living up to their standards, fear of um, not living up to your potential, or fear of imposter syndrome almost. I mean, I've definitely felt all three of those, but I think what you said is super valuable. Like, at the end of the day, they're just people, and they're there to do a very similar thing that you are.
Yeah, completely,
But
completely agree.
yeah, yeah. But I was curious, just kind of rerouting, like, what brought you to those companies? What what was your journey getting to those companies?
Wow. So Viacom International Media Networks, which is the company that holds Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central,
Hmm.
Paramount Movies, a couple of other things here and there in between. But they are based in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, while the European section of this large multinational company is. And I was studying in New Zealand marketing and advertising, and then decided to move to the Netherlands. And it was honestly just like I was looking for any job at that point, fresh out of university with no experience in marketing or media or advertising. And I found an entry level position at Viacom. And then, it was a long, beautiful journey. And I'm happy that I did it.
Yeah. What were some of the like starting off, like a lot of like entry level positions aren't the most fun all the time. But yeah, what did you experience kind of within those entry level positions, and as you worked your way up, like were there any lessons that you learned or things where you were like, man, I was not expecting this, but here we are?
Yeah. I think what I was not expecting, oh, that is a good question. We'll get to that in a minute. But my first job was, and when I send this to my friends, was a thing called spot checking. And what spot checking is, it's very interesting when you hear about other industries and you realize that there's a whole world inside these, different companies.
Right.
But spot checking is a process where you receive a video and it comes into your content management system, and you tell, I'm sure AI has figured this one out by now, but you tell it where the program starts and where it stops. So like the commercial breaks are somewhere in the middle of a video file, and you say at 13 seconds, the video stops and the commercial starts. And you have to label it and say, this is part one, this is part two, this is the credits. And then you have to watch the whole episode to make sure that it's the correct episode. And it sounds cool. Like I got to watch a lot of SpongeBob, but
Dude, I was just about to ask, like a little known fact, SpongeBob is like one of my favorite shows. I grew up watching it, so it is near and dear to my heart.
oh man,
But anyways,
mad respect for SpongeBob. That is,
yeah, I bet you're sick and tired of, watching it after however many hours.
multiple hours. But of all the shows, SpongeBob keeps you hooked still to this day.
It does.
And that was spot checking. That is a job that I hope AI has taken over by now, because it can help people, move on to higher leverage opportunities.
Yeah.
But spot checking was a thing. And then what is something that I learned or experienced? I think it was a whole lot more numbers and Excel sheets than I imagined. It's a very technical process in managing thousands of different episodes and assets that play out every single week. And to keep track of them, there are different programs and different Excel sheets that you use to keep track of everything. So when I came into it, I was imagining a very creative process, and that is a part of the workflow. I moved into media operations, and that was a lot of a lot of data that we had to process. So, which has some beauty in it as well, I think. But yeah.
So you moved from spot checking to data operations, and then did you progress from there, or is that kind of where your journey ended?
Yeah, I moved from general spot checking to content management, and I was a content manager for many number of years, and it's quite funny because there was a friend of mine who used to work there alongside of me, and we got to a point where we hated our jobs, just hated it with a burning passion. But we would go outside, to take a break, and we'd just stand under the covers while it's raining and just like, one day we're not going to be here. One day we're going to get out of here and achieve these great things. And, we're going to leave these four walls of safety that we've created. And we probably complained for about 3-4 years, I would say.
Wow.
And we just never did anything about it. So it was a beautiful experience to finally leave the company. Beautiful people that work there to this day. But when you know that it's not for you, I think your brain starts telling you very early on, it's like, hey, you this is not your path. You should be on a different one. And to be able to go from where I was there to my next job after that and to my job now has been a beautiful experience. And don't know how we got here, Noah, but it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah. No, I resonate a lot with your brain or your subconscious or whatever that is when you're in a position where you're either not the most suited for, or you just don't vibe with it. You don't connect with it. You feel it very early on, almost to a shocking degree, But I find it even more interesting how many of us, myself included, we are in these positions, we're in these situations, but we don't do anything about it. And I'm curious, what kept you at the position that you were at for, you said 3-4 years before you moved on?
Yeah. What kept me there? Well, I was discussing this just last week, that I think, speaking for myself and people in general, we have like a level of suck that we can just endure.
Uh-huh.
And if it's not bad enough, we're not going to make the jump. So, like, I was on a path going in one direction, and that was easy and it was safe. And like, I would show up to work every day and I would know exactly what to do and which buttons to press and who to email, it was very standard and I could do it blindfolded, really. But to make that jump from one direction to the path that in your heart that you should actually go down, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of resistance that you have to push through, and you have to make that jump. I needed to go well below my level of suck to like force myself to like face myself and then make the jump. So I think, a very interesting thing about this was my level of suck was I was always like hovering in this zone just above my level, and it was never enough for me to face my fears and to make the leap. But what we're talking about a little bit earlier, about 3 years ago, my girlfriend, she hit her head, and she suffered a concussion that she still is processing to this day. And when that happened, our level of suck went much below the level. And it was a moment where it was like, all right, like, Bronson, like, you got to make this happen, and you got to make this happen now, because if you don't make this happen now, like, it's not going to happen. So after that moment of suck, it was enough to, it's very much a privilege to, I look back at our journey to be very thankful and grateful for all of the experiences that we've both gone through together, because if it wasn't for that moment, I could still be on that trajectory, which was not for me, but it was a safe option.
Yeah. It's interesting how, like, those moments of struggling, or those intense moments of, like, oh my gosh, something horrible happens, and it kind of gives you two paths. Like, you either stick down one path or the same path, or you go to a completely different one. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage, like, because I don't know what your situation was, but I'm sure when that happened to your girlfriend and you were kind of given these two paths, you didn't know what the other path would lead down towards. And, taking that leap I'm sure that was a scary one, but you did it.
We did it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. There's something there, but I can't touch it. Anyways.
Right. We can think about this.
Yeah.
We can think about this. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it's gone.
Anyways,
I was like, oh, I have something super good to say. I have like a really great follow up, and then it's gone. And that looks like
that's all part of it.
Oh man. Well, anyways, so I want to continue this story. So, you're in these couple positions. You're given the option of, sticking with the company that you're working at and, maybe starting your own thing. Did you find immediate success in your own, entrepreneurial journey? Like, tell me more about that and starting out.
Mm-hmm. Starting out, well, it's been about a couple of weeks now. So I am really enjoying this journey. I've just started this new pursuit in entrepreneurship, still figuring out, what to do, but it feels right. It feels like for the first time that I think we mentioned this before, but sometimes you just know that the current path that you're on is not the right one and that you should be doing something else. And this path, I've only been on it for a couple of weeks now, to be honest. It feels right. And it feels like I have the control and how do you say this? Like I've taken control of my life and where I want it to go in. For the first time, instead of just, building someone else's life, I'm now building the life for my girlfriend and I. And I'm enjoying all of the lessons along the way, enjoying meeting like-minded people like yourself. Highly recommend it.
Yeah. What are some of those lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, I think Alex Hormozy makes a very good point when he said there are no such thing as business problems. There are personal problems disguised as business problems.
Ooh, it's good.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? And I have that one. That statement lives rent free in my head, Alex. Yeah. It's just because you and I have been doing the camera confidence challenge, and that has been incredibly. We've learned a lot. It's been incredibly confronting from my side, and practically speaking, I'm in video. I want to help other people shine their light and make beautiful, authentic video content. I think I should be able to do the same. And for the longest time, I had this fear of what other people thought of me and what I thought of myself that stopped me from. I've only been on social media for 4 months now. So putting myself out there has been a beautiful experience. I've learned a lot here. Making video content has been, like I said, confronting and a beautiful process as well. And what I found very interesting is that we've now been posting online videos for the past 28 days now, which I'm starting to become more comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm filming a video sales letter, and I'm finding a lot of resistance here, where it's like the other videos that we're making, those are your like daily thoughts or musings of whatever's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I do a video sales letter, I like have to sit down and I'm like, hi, my name is Bronson. Like, would you like to work with me, kind of thing?
Right.
And it's like I'm now at this other level of resistance where I'm trying to find comfort in this new environment where I am selling myself on video as opposed to sharing my thoughts and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So that process has been a really good one. How have you been finding the camera confidence challenge, Noah?
Yeah. Well, for listeners, just to kind of give you guys context, Bronson started this challenge. I don't know how I found out about it, but it's it's the camera confidence challenge, and what you do is, it's very simple, but it does honestly take a lot of energy and effort to put yourself out there, but you know in its simplest explanation, you post a video of yourself or record a video of yourself answering a daily prompt, and you post it to whatever social media platform you're kind of building on, and do that consistently for 30 days. And the goal is to just build your confidence, kind of getting over that leap of being on camera, speaking on camera, and then just building that confidence throughout the 30 days. So for me, honestly, man, it's been, I've always been a, behind the camera sort of guy. I've always been interested in like creative pursuits, creative endeavors. So whether that's been, learning guitar, um, coding, even I got into that. Photography, graphic design, writing. Um, you know, all of those things kind of require you to be behind something, or I think of like being on stage and playing guitar. Like, it's not you necessarily that's playing; it's you playing the instrument, and you kind of have a safeguard almost, um, as opposed to you being the lead singer and you singing and that being your voice. There seems to be, you know, there's a layer of protection almost. And what I realized was, especially in building your personal brand and, um, you know, building leverage in that way where your name is the thing that people recognize. There's a unbelievable value in video content and video, um, just being able to speak fluidly and coherently on camera. Um, and so when I found out about the challenge, I was like, man, I need to get on board with this. And it doesn't matter how much I suck at this, I'm just going to do it. And we'll see how it goes. And I've really seen an improvement just in my, ability to speak on camera, my comfort level. Um, it's funny. I think of a lot of these videos as like, 60-second, 90-second tweets almost, you know? And I think like, for me and for maybe people similar to me who enjoy being behind the camera, quote unquote, a little bit more, having the ability to, write out your thoughts, process, reflect a little bit beforehand, and then coming into it, still facing your fear of, I'm on camera, people are going to see this, people are going to judge me, but having a little bit more of a grounding in maybe your natural strengths. So I don't know if that made sense or if I rambled on for a little bit, but to answer your question, it's been a great experience.
Wow. Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. It has been it's been a journey, and I've seen the improvement that we have all made in the past 28 days so far of making videos. Like in day one, the amount of cringe that I have when I watch these videos, it's starting to get less. I'm
Right.
starting to film it in like less takes. Um, your ability to convey ideas is fantastic, and it's quite funny that you say that you've always been behind the camera because when I'm watching your videos, I would never have guessed that. I would have,
Really.
I would have just guessed that you're very structured and it's very like I understand the point that you're making
Hmm.
in your like video, and I think that's a skill that's going to be incredibly important. And like we're speaking now on camera, screens, social media, the ability to convey your ideas on video is something that we're going to be doing for quite a long time. So
Yeah,
to like speed boost our progress and being able to speak on camera, I think it's going to be very beneficial as it just compounds as we go further into the future.
I agree. Yeah. What would be your, advice? Like, let's say if I'm a new creator, I'm just getting into the social media space and I want to build a brand. I want to establish some sort of footprint in the space, and eventually, maybe start my own business, start my own passion project. What is your advice to the beginner who might not be ready to share their face on social media or use video specifically?
Hmm. I don't think you need to start with video. I think video it's a very confronting thing, and uh, I've actually been practicing this ability to speak on camera for quite a few years now, and it is I completely understand how scary it is. Like there was a video that I made 3 years ago, my first video, and I filmed the exact same monologue every night for like 8 nights. I would go out, I'd take the ferry, then I'd take the bus, and I'd arrive to this exact same spot. And then I'd sit down and I'd put my tripod in this certain spot, and then I knew exactly what I wanted to say. And then it was so scary. Like I remember sitting there. It's in like an industrial area in Amsterdam, and if I even like saw another human just like in the distance, I just freeze up, and then I just kind of just like sit there. I pull out my phone, my little safety net, and I just
Uh
like.
huh.
So I understand how scary it is to make video content, and I think there are other ways that you can just start. Like tweeting, for example.
Mm.
Uh, tweeting is that was also scary as well for me when I first started. But if I could give myself any advice before that moment when I started coming online, it would be that it's not as scary as you think it is. And that after you start posting online, it's very interesting how quickly you find like minded people in the online space. I don't know whether it's like the algorithms or whatever, but it just naturally just brings like minded people together. And it's just been so cool to be able to like share and exchange ideas with people like yourself. Like these are things that I think about that I haven't always had people to talk about. So once you make that courage and that once you have that courage to get out there and start sharing your ideas and thoughts, as simple as a one sentence tweet,
Mm.
you'll be surprised how quickly you find people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the amount of people that you run into almost, and just like I feel like you start your journey, you maybe latch on to a creator or two, and then their networks start to feed into your network, and just the, the honesty, the openness, the amount of, this is funny. Like I over the last couple months, I've realized like a lot of the friends and people that I've met on Twitter are, you know, they're more in line with where I want to go with my life than some of my in-person friends. And I've been able to strike up deeper connections with these people online as opposed to in person that, we might have met in college or met in high school, and had some commonalities here or there, but it's incredible to be a part of something bigger than yourself, but then just be with like-minded people. So that's incredible, man. Again, you mentioned, like, I kind of caught on to you started your media agency, and you've mentioned before you started the Camera Confidence Challenge primarily to like help other people share their light, share their stories. What drew you to that? Was it just the process of storytelling? Was it the process of helping others? Why specifically did you align yourself to that purpose?
Mm-hmm. In regards to camera confidence and being able to help other entrepreneurs break that fear to speak on camera, that one is a very, very deep seated fear that I always had for many years of my life. Like I remember having like panic attacks before, during, and after speaking with 3 or more people. With 2 people, I was okay.
Mm-hmm.
For like 3 or more people, my brain would just like short circuit, and I wouldn't be able to like speak, or the amount of times that I've cried in front of everyone is astounding. And I just know what it's like to have this like voice in your head just screaming at you and just like telling you like the worst things. And to be able to like break that fear in myself, and to be able to like be comfortable with the voice, inside the car, but not actually driving.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out that, logically, it makes sense now that I look back on it. But when I was asking entrepreneurs, like, what are the things that are holding you back in making video content online? And of all the different things that I asked, like a lot of entrepreneurs don't have enough time, or they don't know how to edit videos. The most feedback that I got was that entrepreneurs did not want to put themselves out there on video, because it's a thing. And it was kind of like a light bulb moment where it sounds so stupid thinking back on it. It was like, Bronson, the whole world doesn't revolve around you. Like, other people are also scared as well, and they also have voices in their head. So I'm just very passionate about helping other people, just break the fear and just put themselves out there online. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. And I can tell you from, experiencing the Camera Confidence Challenge myself and going through it for now 28 days, it has, dramatically changed the way that I view putting myself out there, and has definitely broken some limiting beliefs. I remember like looking at YouTubers or looking at just people online and being like, it's cool to it's cool to see them do their thing, but I don't think I could ever, be on camera or do that. Or even with podcasting, like I have a deep passion for talking with people and, hearing their story, hearing their unique and creative insights. But before this podcast, actually, specifically, I hated being on video doing podcasting. I'd much rather it be an audio only thing. But there is just something to seeing the other person, and from an audience perspective too, seeing the conversation and feeling like you're a part of it. So it's like you said, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. I think, and practically speaking, video it's popping right now, Noah.
Yeah.
Short form content is popping, and video content is everywhere, and I don't think that it's going to go away anytime soon. And we're speaking about this briefly before, but entrepreneurs, we don't have much time, and we're trying to do the jobs of many different people.
Mm-hmm.
So finding higher leverage ways to use our time is something that we should naturally be doing. And video content, it just adds that extra layer of, like one long form podcast can be cut up into short different clips.
Absolutely.
And those clips can be turned into, you got short form, they can be converted into, like Twitter posts or LinkedIn posts. And then video just adds an extra layer where audio only can only go in a certain direction. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it takes a bit of courage to do, but I think video is a good way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think Gary Vee talks a lot about that, where you have one major long form offering, for lack of a better term, whether that's a newsletter, a podcast, a YouTube video, and you record that. It's maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes, and you kind of chop it up, and it's able to live on multiple different platforms. And if done right, it performs way more than, say for Instagram, for example, a reel of a podcast will perform 10 times better than just a square post of, hey, the podcast is out. So it's definitely, like you said, video is popping, and it seems to be, like it's here to stay. And I think you can tie in kind of like AI and Chat GPT and with this as well. Like, we might not like particular modes or mediums of creativity or ways in which society or culture in general are going, but as creative people, as multidimensional people who have different passions, different skills, or who are even like starting their own businesses, having the ability to almost sit on top of that layer of, you know, TikTok is bad, I'm never going to post videos on there. Like, being able to sit on top of that and see the opportunities and see the, quite honestly, the artfulness of it. Like, it takes a lot of skill to condense things into a short amount of time and hold people's attention and, rally the tribe, so to speak. Um, and it gives you that ability as a creative to transcend to that higher level of, okay, I'm thinking more from a strategic point of view. What is my message? How can I use this platform to, elevate my message, elevate my audience, the people who are watching me, and how can I bring the most value to a platform that, they might enjoy most. It's not about me, it's about them. And I think that's, it's something that I've learned, that's for sure. And, starting with social media and, trying to get my brand situated, it's not about me, it's about the audience, it's about bringing value to them. But anyways, I was rambling on there for a little bit, but I want to ask you one last question, and this might be, feel free to take as much time as you want on this, but the question is, and again, I'm framing this from you being a storyteller. So you're a storyteller, and I see, our lives as being stories, from beginning to end. And I see brands, I see personal brands as being, subsets or just stories within themselves, whether it's your personal brand, um, you're sharing a part of your story with other people. But I'm curious, like, with you being a person, with you, having that story, um, what do you think the things that you are creating now, the business that you're starting, what story is that telling overall?
What story am I telling overall? Yeah, kind of tying back to what you're saying just a little bit earlier. I was listening to Mr. Beast's producer talk about this the other day, and he was saying that the people who can make the quick cut video edits and the flashy lights that you see go viral on TikTok, like those videos are not going to build as much of a connection with your audience as people who can just like sit down and just communicate, have a backwards and forwards interaction with their audience,
Mm-hmm.
be social on social media. Who would have thought that one of the keys to building a personal brand online is to like actually be social on social media? That what my overall goal and mission and story, I think that like short form content is here to stay, and there's so much content out there online which you know social media has a dark side and it's causing a lot of damage, and the amount of like dopamine that just like rushes through your body after you've been scrolling for like 6 hours. It's crazy. I want to help other entrepreneurs who are helping others. I want to amplify their voices, and I want to help people and also brands who are, doing some good in the world or trying to leave the world in a better place than they left it. But maybe they don't quite understand how to tell their story online or how to use video content. I want to help these people in sharing their voice because they're currently coming up against, 1 second quick cuts and like, hey everybody, how you doing today? They got a lot to face, and I would like to help them stand a chance and amplify the voice of people who are also shining their light. I think that's what I would like to do.
For sure. Well, that is a beautiful mission, and I've benefited from it, and I'm sure if you were to ask, you know, all of your clients, all of the people who are in the Camera Confidence Challenge, they would give you a resounding 10 stars, man. You're doing great things.
Well, shout out to the Camera Confidence crew. It's been having you all I'm right alongside everyone here, and we're all facing the same things. And to have a group of people who are also going through these things together, like man, I've been pushing off my videos like to the end of the day, and I know I shouldn't be doing this, but sometimes I get to the end of the day, and I'm like, you know what? We're in different time zones. Maybe they won't notice if I just don't post a video today. But then, like, I just see this stream of videos in our group chat of just Noah posted a video, Molly posted a video, Brandon posted a video. I'm like, all right, if they can all do it, I can too. So
Yeah.
thank you for being a part of it. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for showing that, you won't die when you post video online. You're not
That's the
going to die.
clip.
You'll be okay.
That's the clip. Cut that. That's
Right.
going on TikTok.
Well,
You're
Bronson,
not going to die.
yeah, you're not going to die. Well, where can people find you online? If people want to connect with you, where can they find you? And do you have any, courses, any things that you're offering?
Yeah. I'm most active on Twitter. So my Twitter name is Bronson_Wilson_. Because if anyone out there knows the Bronson Willson who took Bronson Willson on Twitter, let me know, because I'd really like to have his profile. He hasn't posted since like 2009, and
Oh
I'm
my
just like,
gosh.
dude, you have the best name. But anyway, so that's where I am on Twitter, and my agency is called the Total Agency. And yeah, if there are any entrepreneurs out there who feel like they want to share their light with the world via video, let me know.
Awesome, man. Well, Bronson, it was an honor getting to meet you, to speak with you for the first time. Yeah, and I hope it's not the last.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Noah. It was a beautiful conversation. And I'm looking forward to where your podcast is going to go in the future. So it's a very exciting thing. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, anytime, man. All right.